Welcome to Across the Gridiron. It's been a minute, and as you know, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan first of all, living in the United Kingdom. How that ever happened, I do not know, but I'm part of Cowboys Nation. So the other thing that I wanted to look at is just the overall, NFL, Sunday. A quick mention, to Kirk Cousins, and most of you, who've been on this channel and have seen my videos. I have a Kirk Cousins video that I did because, I think that he's very underappreciated, and he's a very, very good quarterback, and doesn't deserve, the sort of vitriol that he gets. And the dude don't have a very good offensive line, constantly getting hit, and then also lost his number one receiver. And then, did anyone see Addison go? Did anyone see Addison go? Like it's they always talk about whether you're a quarterback that can put the team on your back. Kirk Cousins is like, Justin Jefferson is not around, don't worry, just hop on my back, and I'll keep this train going. And started saying darts to Addison and things like that. And right now Kirk Cousins has got over 18 touchdowns in the league. The I think he's tied with Tour, if I'm correct, right now. And you don't get 18 touchdowns, without doing something right. And it's got very, very little interceptions as well. So I don't know why people are so down on Kirk Cousins. And it's almost like if you're comparing a quarterback to Kirk Cousins, you're almost sort of disrespecting the quarterback with intent. So really, really, sad, about Kirk Cousins. I think he's got an Achilles injury, so hopefully he gets well, gets better very, very soon. So across the NFL, some interesting results. Eagles held serve, and that's good because, I wouldn't have wanted the Eagles. I don't know. I wanted them to lose, but when I think about it, I actually want to beat the best Eagles team because the last couple of times we played the Eagles, first time, Dak was out, second time Jalen was out, so people were like, well, you didn't, we scored 40. We scored 40 against the Eagles. But they were like, no, that's an Eagles team that already sewn up, the league and the division, and, they're resting their starters and all of that, and stuff. And Jalen didn't play, so it really doesn't count. So for me, this game is the game where Jalen and all your starters don't want to hear any excuses. If we go into the Link Stadium and we drop an egg, we drop an egg. But I don't think that's going to be likely. I think that, this is now going into previews and stuff, but I feel very confident about Dallas Cowboys, going into the Eagles. I think that we have an identity, and we got areas where we can improve on, but my goodness, we have a kicker. We have a kicker. And I don't know if any of you who are Marvel fans, you might remember the scene in the Avengers when Tony Stark, at the Avengers building at the time, and Loki, was coming in there with all the bad guys and all of that, and they were having that bit of back and forth, and Tony just walked from his kitchen area or whatever, and he just said, "We have a Hawk," and the Hawk just jumped in. And it was all crazy from there. We have a kicker. This guy really, I've been a Cowboys fan for a while, and I've seen some kickers. I remember when we had Dan Bailey, as a kicker. He was Mr. Automatic until something just happened and he just couldn't get it through. And they always say that something happens to kickers, and that when they catch the thing, there is a term for it. They don't ever seem to recover from it. Dan Bailey caught that, and that was it. And then we went through all kinds of kickers. Then we had Greg Zuerlein, was the kicker. Then we had Ben Maher. Some of these guys are still in the league. I think Greg is still in the league. Maher is still in the league. Can't remember what team that they play for. But kicking is important. Some people hate it. But sometimes my rule is if you get towards the end zone, come back with points, right? Come back with points. 3 points, 7 points, whatever. You need to come back with points because you just never know whether those 3 points might be the difference through the 4 quarters of the game. So having a kicker is important, and we do have one. Got a good special teams. I think right now special teams will be the edge, between the Cowboys and the Eagles. I believe that. I don't special teams for the Eagles don't even they're not considered any important. I expect a couple of people in Dallas special teams to make the Pro Bowl this season. It's early days, but I fully expect them to make the Pro Bowl. Certainly the kicker, because I don't know of any other kicker that has the same sort of record, excuse me, as he does. So the Eagles held serve against the Commanders, all good. Wow. No one saw that coming with Mahomes and Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos have been really the sort of the team where everyone have said to them, pack it all in, right? It's all done this season, right? Let's forget about it. Let's think about, next season. The trouble is, it's still very early in the season. Until you're legitimately over halfway, you can still make points. I mean, Cincinnati Bengals, they've made a habit of this. They can start 0-5 and then hit the reset button after their bye, and then they can't seem to lose a game. And it seems like they've done exactly the same thing. We'll talk about the Bengals in a second. But clearly, flu and football don't go together. They might start with the same F, but they don't go together. Oh, I just had my shoulder reminding me that I shouldn't get too excited. No touchdowns, lots of interception for Mahomes. Ugly, ugly game. 9 points they scored against the Denver Broncos. I mean, Russell Wilson still only had over 100 yards. He's not quite there, and I don't know whether it's the play calling, whether it's because I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I don't think Russell Wilson is a bad quarterback. And they always talk about falling into the right system. Now you fall into the right system with the right coach, magic can happen. I'm not quite sure, what's going on with Broncos, but I still think that they need to keep, try for another 1 year. And everyone's kind of saying, oh, you need to, get it done with, move on. But I think that there's still an opportunity to do that, to keep going with Russell Wilson. So bad loss at Mahomes. They've now got 2 losses in the season. So right now, Eagles are the only team with a 1 loss. So that's interesting. Bengals 49ers. Bengals 49ers. Listen, that game gave me joy. It did give me joy. I was watching the game. Joe Burrow is back. I think he's back. And I don't understand. They would probably go on the next 5 games without losing, right? So am I happy we've played them early? Yes. I think, teams like that, you want to play them early, get them out of the way, get the points in the bag, move on. Because this is one thing that, sometimes people, don't realize. Timing is also important in the NFL. No opponent is the same. And yes, you want to compare, Dallas Cowboys beat, the Jets by this much, and then look at how much the Eagles, I love to do that actually. Sometimes you want to push it back, the narrative. But the reality is that timing is different. When you play a team, sometimes they still not got things figured out. The quarterback might be new in the system, new offensive coordinator, new DC, lots of moving parts, right? And then after like 8 weeks, by then people start to settle down. November, December, the team start to settle down, and then you start to see, what are the patterns, what are the things that are tendencies of teams, is this really a good team or a bad team? All of those things start to become very clear, after season game week 8. So I think that the Bengals can go on a run. They can still make the playoffs. I think the NFC is still wide open. The Lions, and the Raiders played yesterday. I think the Lions, will make the playoffs. I think they've got a very good chance. Seattle, very hard fought, victory, for Seattle. So they got a W there as well. That's going to be interesting because they're also in the same division as the 49ers. And if the Seattle, takes that game, then the 49ers might be in the same position the Dallas Cowboys were, in a wild card spot last year. So that might be interesting. And they have to go on the road, to try and make it to the Super Bowl. So yeah, that's interesting. AFC is looking interesting. Baltimore Ravens, I think they will also make the playoffs. It's not too early to say that. That's my thing. Just a quick reaction. Next last round of the NFL football. I'm looking forward to the next set of games. No one bigger than on Sunday. That will be about 9:25 p.m. for us in the UK for the Dallas Cowboys against the Philadelphia Eagles. Interesting.